Thanks for watching a new video blog. Today from Istanbul, Turkey.
Bu şarkı sönmekte olan bir imparatorluk. Doğum oranları ve yıkılan binalar hakkında. The Bosporus is silent, the bridges start to crack. Golden horns are bleeding, there's no turning back. Hagia Sophia trembles, the minarets fall slow. A city built on 7 hills now sinking below. Stone by stone, the empire fades. Echoes of the past in the rubble we've made. İstanbul sevgilim, toza dönüşüyorsun. Her dua, her çağrı pas tarafından yutuldu. From Galata to Sultanahmet, the sky turns black and grey. Istanbul, my heart, you're falling away.
Is Istanbul collapsing? Now, I was here 5 years ago. Hi, leuk dat je weer kijkt naar een nieuwe videoblog over passief inkomen met dividendaandelen. Ik ben vandaag in Istanbul in Turkije, even aan de volgende generaties. En misschien is dat ook wel een beetje egoïstisch, want het zijn natuurlijk jouw kinderen, het is natuurlijk jouw nageslacht. Maar dat geeft niet. De natuur die werkt op die manier. Want ik heb zelf ook die dingen meegemaakt dat ik alleen maar... Dan krijg je keuzestress, want je weet niet meer waaraan je nou je geld moet besteden. And 5 years ago, the state of Istanbul was much different than today. I see so many buildings that are in need of renovation. And many buildings are even collapsing. It doesn't look really good. And of course we all know, or when you at least do a small search, that the economy of Turkey isn't doing that well. The currency, their national currency, has been suffering. The lira is dropping in value, and yeah, they're in a bad state. And I'm very sad to see that, because Istanbul is beautiful. If you have to pick a city to live in, well, Istanbul might be maybe the best choice. It's really a city. It's very much alive. So you see many human beings on the streets. And that is nature. And that's good to be surrounded by other human beings. It's very positive. But that is also directly what the problem is. The economy is declining, and why is it declining here? Why is Istanbul collapsing? Why are the buildings collapsing? You see many buildings, even in good spots, they're just collapsing. Nobody there to buy them, nobody there to renovate them. Just over. Istanbul is collapsing. And yes, why is it collapsing? Why is it going so bad in Istanbul? Well, the number one reason is, of course, the declining birth rates. Many people will blame like the wars or other things, I don't know what they say, like China or Trump or all this nonsense, but it's not true. It's not the case. It's not the reason. The real reason are the declining birth rates. Because now the birth rates in Turkey are under 2.1 child per woman, which is replacement level. It's now 1.8. So that means that there are just not a lot of babies born in Turkey, in Istanbul. And that is worrisome. And it's worrisome because you can see the effects immediately on the economy. When there are no goods to trade, when there's no need for goods, for new goods, of course, people will start to suffer. Every baby that is born, every new baby, means a demand for food, for clothing, for schools, for toys, water, an extra room, a bigger car, everything, you name it. New life means a growing economy. So fewer births means that the guy that is selling children toys, or baby food, or baby clothes, or bigger cars, suddenly don't have that much to sell. There's just no demand for it, because no new human beings means no demand, means no profit, means shops closing, means less income, less GDP, and eventually a collapsing Istanbul. Now, how sad is that? Such a beautiful city, but suffering from the most basic factor that are human beings, a lack of human beings. There are not any children born here. Well, there are, but not enough. Because every country that wants to grow economy-wise needs to have a positive birth rate, more demand for goods and services. And less demand, well, yeah, means the currency will plummet, less demand for a currency, because people aren't trading that much anymore, because there are no goods to buy, because everybody has what he has, no new people. And this is something that most people don't seem to realize. They skip over it. They're like, no, it's the war, it's Trump, it's Biden, it's China, it's Israel, whatever. They come up with the weirdest reasons why there is a crisis in many countries nowadays. It's very easy also to see, because the countries that are like upcoming are countries that still are like at replacement levels or a little bit above. For example, take India. They were always doing better because they were in the positive. They had a positive birth rate. But also now, India starts to drop to replacement levels. So soon they will also be in a lesser growing economy and even a plummeting economy. And you can clearly see what it does. Now, many people will turn it upside down. They will say the birth rates are declining because the economy isn't growing. But that's not the case. It's the other way around. The economy is slowing down and plummeting. Istanbul is plummeting because the birth rates are too low. And then what happens is that the economy will also implode, collapse, disappear, whatever you want to call it. It's very simple. We could also see this happening in Europe. When the birth rates started to drop in the 1960s and 70s, the economy went really bad in the 1980s. And you might say, oh yeah, but it's the USA, this and that. Well, same happened in the USA. Birth rates were dropping there. And the effects are, of course, later visible. Once the demand for new goods and services dries out, and this happens years later, suddenly there will be a shock in the economy. Suddenly people start to realize, hey, I'm not selling my goods and services anymore that easily as before. Maybe I need to raise the price. Maybe we need more loans. And suddenly unemployment will go up, And it will not go back again because there is not enough demand for things. If there's just not a growing population, who is going to take the goods and services? Nobody will, because nobody is new. Now, already in the 60s, late 60s, Europe and the United States realized that a dropping birth rate, and by the time it was at replacement levels, like in the 1970s, they realized that they had to do something, and it was to pour in immigrants. And by doing so, they kept the economy sort of working. But that is a very, well, let's say it's a very hard direction. It has its problems, to say the least. It's very difficult also for the immigrants. It's not very easy to adapt to a new country, totally new. That gives social unrest. But that was their way of coping with reality of declining birth rates. And they sort of managed to keep the economy running, but now still they're not as good anymore as in the 1960s. Right before the numbers started to drop, the economy was flourishing because we had higher birth rates, the so-called baby boom. It was not really a boom, it was not really that high. That was the sort of the push for economical growth. Also in the United States, the 60s are known to be this great era because still families were big enough for the economy to grow. But soon as the families started to decrease, get smaller, yeah, trouble started, and it never really recovered from that. Even the 1990s, which are supposed to be like this great time in economy, also didn't really boom as much as like in the 1960s, and quickly it disappeared because the birth rates were continuing to decline. And the West, like United States and Europe, they had to bring in many immigrants, and also their birth rates were dropping, so it wasn't really working. And that is why now in Turkey the same is happening. The economy is shrinking, Istanbul is collapsing. You can see it, many buildings are collapsing. There's just no demand for it. Nobody's interested in renovating it because they see that the economy isn't doing that great. And it's not doing very great because of the very low birth rates. It's just as simple as that. So it's very unfortunate, and the only way to have the economy running again is not war, but it is indeed making new families, making bigger families, create demand. Now, I'm a natural guy, so I couldn't be bothered by saving a civilization or economies, but I know that many people will watch this and they do care, maybe. And for them, it's good to realize that it is important to understand how economy works, that declining birth rates, even though they're your decision, your own personal decision, nobody should force you to do anything against your will, but know that your economy will plummet if you decide to stay childless or to create a very small family. So you can say, well, it's everybody's choice, fine, that's true, but don't complain about the economy, because know that families and children is what your economy is built on. And if you decide to distance yourself from having a family, know that eventually also you will suffer from your own decision. And you can see it in Istanbul. For whatever reason, people decided not to have big families anymore like they used to have in the past. And you can see clearly now that its effect is playing out. So that was it for today from Istanbul, Turkey. I say thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.